I'm just a natural born talker. And when I'm not talking, I am thinking nonstop and I overanalyze everything in my life. So the hardest thing for me when to meditate is to not think. And something that helps me not think, honestly, I don't know if you guys see on my Facebook, if you guys can see that regularly on Sundays, I go and submerge my entire body in freezing cold water. Like, not just like cold shower water, like literally freezing cold water. I mean, when I was doing it in the wintertime, there was literal ice in the river. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, microdosing helps. But anyways, I'll get to both of those comments in just a second. But cold water, when you submerge yourself in it, it has tons and tons of medical benefits. I recommend that you guys talk to Wim Hof or look up Wim Hof. Cold exposure, he's the pioneer of cold exposure. It has lots and lots of health benefits, as well as it teaches yourself to go through hard things, because all you can do is think about how fucking cold it is. You can't, you have no control. You just have to like monitor your breathing, and uh that's all you can think about, and it trains your body. Now, microdosing, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think microdosing, honestly, is something that every single human should look into and do some research. And if you find something that resonates with you, you should look into it. Now, it has lots and lots and lots of health benefits for your body. Not a lot of people really realize and understand that some of the mushrooms that are legal, like legal supplements, actually can help cure cancer and prevent cancer and are good for your body. Um, a lot of time, that's, I think that's why that substance, or that plant medicine was banned for so long, is because of all the health benefits that it actually has to the human. Because that company that makes the stuff that people take when they get sick, yeah, the only way they make money is when you get sick. You know what I mean? They're the Tylenol and other stuff like that you ingest when you're getting sick. That type of industry is the biggest and most wealthy industry in the world, and the only way that they can make money is if people get sick. Now, also, yeah, why they clone Kanye West, I don't know, man. I feel like they knew that. I feel like they knew that he was eventually going to get his money back. Just like recently, a federal judge denied the fact that Adidas could withhold all of his money, and so he got awarded $75 million. So I feel like all of a sudden, if you guys watch what was going on, really, if you I don't know if you pay attention to Kanye West, but I thought before they cloned him that he was a prophet and that he was like changing the world, like the guy that got arrested in Romania, Tucker Carlson, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel what happened is all of a sudden he disappeared for a while. Remember how it was all over the news that he was missing or supposedly missing? And then all of a sudden he shows up with this Russian chick that is like all of a sudden now his wife. I doubt that. I think they got him and they cloned him, and uh, that's the clone's handler to make sure that the clone does and acts accordingly and continues to program it when necessary. Because I don't know if you've seen pictures of him recently, but his whole entire body structure has changed. I've watched a lot of content with Kanye West, and his whole entire body structure changed. All of a sudden, he's like this big shouldered, skinny waisted dude. He looks like soulless in the eyes, and he's just always just walking around with this Russian or like some type of Ukrainian. Maybe she's white. Maybe I'm actually completely wrong. So just don't quote me on this. But to me, she looks like she could be from Czechoslovakia, Ukrainian. You know what I mean? Bosnian, something like that. But all of a sudden now she's just everywhere with Kanye West. Now, did you guys actually hear? I mean, if you guys watch my actual post, you guys actually you'll know. But uh, they just the FDA just approved Neuralink for human trials. Now, the idea of Neuralink that Elon Musk has is actually really, really tight, because originally he wanted to do it so where if someone was paralyzed, when someone was paralyzed, they could attach the Neuralink into their head. Just a second, I'm going to post a comment on Facebook real quick saying that I'm live. Excuse me, I just realized I could do that on my computer. Sorry. But so ideally what they want to do is they want to be able to um, put a Neuralink in someone's brain that is paralyzed from the waist down, let's say. I'm live now. Post. Boom. Oh, I'm love now. Oopsie. So they wanted to put it in from the brain to the hip. So what happens is when your brain tells your legs to move, it's all just electrical currents through your body. So they want to bypass the part that's severed that can't have um, that can't work because the spine is broken or there's no nerves, and they want to be able to, just like Bluetooth, transmit the signal from your brain to the receptor in your leg. Well, that will then transmit the electrical currents through your body. Okay, so from your brain it bypasses where it cuts in your back. It goes straight from your brain to your hip, and then your legs work again. Do you know how crazy that would be? You know what I mean? Where you could have the Neuralink in your brain, and they could create a computer program targeted specifically to your brain, and that they could tell your brain to send white blood cells to your liver because you have cirrhosis. Like what? All of a sudden now we can just control our brain and tell it to cure anything? Well, the problem with that is that unfortunately, you know that when that becomes a thing, the only people that are going to be able to get it are the people who are filthy rich. And so then what will happen is those filthy rich people will continue to get it for themselves. They'll see the benefits of it, because the benefits of it for the paraplegic or someone who is sick, yeah, that just means that the elites will live forever. But what does that mean for us? Do you know what I'm saying? The people that, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I work hard. You know what I mean? I have two jobs to take care of my family. I work hard as shit, and there's no way in hell that I could ever afford to fucking come up on a $10,000 piece that's embedded in my brain that gives me access to everything on the internet and all information. I would never have to look up on Google how to do anything because I would be able to pull it into my brain like that. Do you know what that does? That separates the rich from the poor, because now the rich become superhuman. Now, also the crazy thing right now is with AI. Do you know what's going on with AI? Elon Musk came out and said that we should immediately put rules and regulations on how developing AI works, because they don't want small corporations trying to get rich, cutting corners, and not fucking putting in certain codes that you need to prevent from the AI becoming sentient and then taking over the entire internet, and then turning against us and eradicating us because we're parasites for this planet. We consume and destroy the entire planet. All the animals are dying. We're bleeding the earth of every single resource all over the world. We're killing trees everywhere. Our waters have islands of trash floating in them. Like, we are a parasite, and the robots will learn that we need to be eradicated. So the only way really we could ever really even compete with that and make sure that they don't eradicate us is if we turn ourselves into robots. I mean, to be honest with you, we are already kind of cyborgs. Every single human in America, for the most part, has a fucking computer attached to their hand at all times, everywhere they go. They never go anywhere without this thing. And when they don't have it, they panic and freak out. It's a lifeline to the world, which is weird, really, because I don't understand how people could really comprehend. And I mean, don't get me wrong, my following on these platforms has really went up a lot, and it's kind of surreal to me. I never ever anticipated this. And if I could be blunt and freak and upfront with you guys, it's addicting. I check my phone and my stuff all the time to see how many views I'm getting, the likes, the comments. Well, one, the comments, because I want to engage with my fans. I want to engage with the people that follow me. That's why I started this little YouTube channel and started doing weird videos about, hey, get to know me. Because if you follow me, I want you to know me. I don't want you to just follow me because I talk about something crazy. I want you to follow me to follow me. You know, I want you to really understand why you're following me, so that when I build this fan base, because I'm about to do big things, I'm going to go up with this. I want the people who follow me to be my friend, even if we've never even met or never even talked, because you fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, Courtney? How's it going? Kevin, Laurie, what's up? I appreciate you guys here. Marlo, what's good? Christian, I see you, homie. Amy Pez, Greg Danger, I appreciate you guys showing up here. YouTube, this is small. It's crazy. I've only had a YouTube channel for about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. I've already got 100 subscribers. You know what I mean? Ideally, I just want everyone to know that I appreciate everything and every interaction that people have with my stuff, because when I initially started this, I never one time ever anticipated this happening. I literally did it because someone I knew was paying for views, and my egotistical ass was like, what the hell? I don't gotta pay for views. I'm cool enough to get views. And then it just started rising and going up and going up and going up. It's cool. I don't know if y'all know, because I don't really talk about this a lot, but I actually just received a notification with the first little bit of money that I'm going to make off my social media. I mean, that's kind of the goal for people who create content and push content, right? That kind of means like that's the beginning of maybe I make it. You know, maybe this pays for stuff. Uh, I just am really grateful because I've had a lot of crazy and really positive conversations with a lot of people. And if you watch my content, you honestly know there's only a few things that I do. I ask questions because I want to start conversation. I promote love and positivity and self care and honesty and being a good human and trying to help humanity. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm just an ant on a freaking anthill. When the anthill is being attacked by the ants, all I really can do is just talk, man. I can just talk and just say what I say, and if enough people fuck with me, they're gonna watch my shit. If not, then at least I know that I did my best as a human on planet Earth that's currently dying because the powers that be are what it seems lately is against us. You know, it's a scary thing, and so if I mean, I'm kind of starting to look like a prophet, Moses or something. That's the idea. No, not really. Not to look like Moses, but smell my fingers. You're weird, Charles. Oh, it's because they're in my armpits. I'm not sweaty, actually. You know what I mean? This is the first time I ever did something like this, and to be completely frank with you, I'm kind of nervous. It's just like feels like I'm just rambling, but I could talk for a while. Now, I don't really know what to talk about, so I hope maybe someone would just throw something up in the chat. Go ahead and just say something, ask something, give me a subject to talk about, what I think about things. It could really be anything. I'm not really tripping. I've got 2 people following on YouTube. It looks like they're watching me. I've got 2 people on Facebook. What's up, Melissa? I appreciate you coming in here. Now it looks like I've got 3 people up in here. This is just, it's crazy because it is crazy because I do feel nervous. What's up, Taz? How's it going? Hey, thanks. Yeah, the tapestry's tight. To be honest, if you ever came to my home does not look like necessarily a home that you would understand, because you go in there and there's lots of decorations. I have tapestries on my roof in my living room with fluff to make clouds that have LED lights under it. I've got a bunch of posters and stuff. I've got tapestries everywhere. My whole entire hallway is done with paintings that me and my lady have painted, as well as my kids, as well as a lot of my friends when they come to my house. Sometimes when we hang out, I have them paint so they can leave their energy in my home. And I've painted lots of things for some friends that I have, because I want my energy in their home, like the people that are in my tribe. I mean, honestly, I never anticipated that I was going to be a painter, because I grew up super critical of myself as a teenager and always thought that all my artwork was stupid because I compared myself to everybody else. I compared myself to everybody else really most of my life, really. It's just honestly, finally, since I have been going through a spiritual journey in my life, um, and a journey to find inside here. I suffer from borderline personality disorder. To cut it short, it's basically just an identity disorder where I don't really create I don't really have a sense of self. I pick pieces up from everybody around me and kind of just combine them together. And I'm a chameleon where I can be in front of anybody I want and act accordingly, because I've suffered from abandonment. So I have severe abandonment issues, which caused me to want everybody's approval and act accordingly to make sure that I get approval. But during the spiritual journey that I've been going through, to be honest, I feel like it's cured. I don't know necessarily if I want to yet expose what cured me, but during this time period, I have solidified my interests and my hobbies and my beliefs and my thoughts and my ideas on life, and et cetera, et cetera. What's up, Dylan? How's it going, man? Oh yeah, I don't know if I really want to talk about what's happening in the schools with that group of people right now because I have some strong feelings, and I don't think necessarily it's appropriate for live because I don't want to get my shit suspended or banned. What's up, Red Pill? Hey, how's it going? So, what's good today? What are you guys been doing today? Do I think Eminem was cloned? Oh, I mean, if you if you observe his whole entire career, which I've been alive for his whole career, um, if you really pay attention to it, and there's lots of like weird conspiracy stuff videos all over the internet about this, it does seem to me that he looks different. I mean, I think that Eminem is the greatest rapper alive, but that's it. He's just a rapper. I feel like J. Cole is the greatest poet that ever did it over music. Now, poetry is different. Obviously, when you put rhythm and poetry, which is rap, I feel like I feel like J. Cole's the best poet that there ever was, and I feel like I mean Eminem is the goat. There's nobody out there that's like him. But I mean, obviously, if maybe when he was falling off or during the time when he was relapsing. Hey, thanks, Landai. Yeah, the tapestry's tight. I got lots of them all over my house. Honestly, if y'all really like the tapestries, I'm gonna start switching them up every time I do something like this. But yeah, I think that potentially he was cloned. Oh yeah, rabbit holes. Oh my gosh. Literally, okay, so check this out. I started going through this spiritual journey about 2 years ago, and that's really when I started paying attention to politics as well as conspiracies because I wasn't really fucking with anything else on TikTok because that's all I really had at the time was TikTok. I didn't really fuck with social media very much. I feel like it's poisoned humanity. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't use it. I do use it regularly, probably more than most, to be honest. But I still think it's poison because how addicted I am. I understand it, and if it can do that to me, it could probably do it to lots of different people. So, but rabbit holes, man. I mean, if you don't know, do you know what CERN is? Okay, CERN, the particle collider in Switzerland. It's like literally, it's a big round thing that is bigger than a city, and at very 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 high speeds, they throw particles together and see what happens and study them like quantum physics, which quantum physics has proved metaverses and multiverses, etc. But anyways, and then all of a sudden, you know what happened a few years ago when on New Year's Eve that the ball was late dropping when it hit midnight. That just around yeah in Geneva, that around that time CERN had been turned on, and there's lots and lots of people that speculate that we like collided into a parallel universe because then there was lots and lots of stuff that changed. Like I know for a fucking fact, Chick-fil-A did not have a K. Okay, that the Monopoly man did have a monocle. The way that Bernstein Bears was freaking spelt. That I know that there was a movie named Shazam. I mean, if you haven't heard about this, you probably should do some research because it's pretty wild. Because you'll watch something about a Mandela effect happening, and you'll remember it one way, and then you go Google it, and you'll never be able to find anything, any pictures or anything or any proof that what you thought was true. The Mandela effect actually started from Nelson Mandela. He was a person who went to prison, and supposedly, from what the world understood, that he died in prison, and then like 40 years later, he like got out of prison, and so there was a mass population of people who remember him dying, and then just like wait a second, just like Bob Barker. Do you remember recently when I remember knowing that Bob Barker died a few years ago, and then just like a few months ago, or maybe 6 months ago, or something, all of a sudden, something on my social medias all of a sudden said. All of a sudden said that it was his birthday. He was like 96. Now, oh yeah, Curious George. Oh yeah, Curious George. Well, guess what? They said that Curious George didn't have a tail. Well, he wouldn't be a monkey if he didn't have a tail. He would be a chimp, you know? He's a monkey. Throughout all of the books, he's a monkey. Curious George is a monkey. What's the craziest conspiracy theory you think could actually be true? Oh my goodness. This one is going to be wild and probably make all of you think that I'm crazy. But let's just talk a little bit about space. Okay? Space, moons, planets, stars. So, my first idea is this 1971, we went to the moon, right? Well, during that time, the whole world was trying to go to the moon to prove that they were the most technologically advanced civilization to gain kind of control in the technology world around the world to build revenue and research projects, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Supposedly we sent these people up to the moon, right? Well, there's been lots of weird stuff about the moon. I don't know if you've ever watched Neil Armstrong 40 years later get asked about it. He doesn't really talk about it. For some reason, uh, NASA destroyed the blueprints on how to build the rocket that got us to the moon. We don't have we they completely got rid of how to build that rocket. Everything was destroyed. Um, so what I feel is that we as America, because we were like up and coming and we were wealthy compared to most of the world. We and TVs back then in 1970 were really shitty. You know, you didn't have the best picture quality. You don't got 4K. You're not able to play PlayStation 5 when I do, and I'm sitting there playing NBA 2K, and I can zoom in and see the sweat dripping on my player's face. We didn't have that kind of graphics. It was really just bland. You know, you could see what it is, but not great. So why wouldn't America go into a movie studio in Hollywood, where they have access to all of that stuff and create a video and shoot an empty rocket into the sky and then broadcast the video uh, all over the TV. I mean, there's a conspiracy. If you heard like Neil Armstrong, some of his recordings talk about seeing structures on the moon, seeing a spaceship when they got there. So they might have really went up there, but they didn't live stream it. As soon as they got up there, they just put their video on the TV. Do y'all understand that? Red Pill. I know. I already know Red Pill. Yeah, I watched a lot of your content, bro. You fuck with and talk about a lot of the same stuff I do. So this is really what I feel like is space. So now I grew up my whole entire life, like every human on the planet Earth is programmed. We're programmed from birth, you know. So potentially you have to realize that literally every single thing that you have ever learned in your entire life could be false. And we learned that when JFK was assassinated. We learned that because the documents that came out, the word conspiracy theorist was coined and invented when there was a mass population of people who actually truly thought that we did it, like the American government, CIA, FBI. And then there's documents that come out 50 years later saying that all those places were associated with the death of him. So if they can cover that up for 50 years, and that's the fucking president, then every single thing you ever could have learned ever could be wrong. I mean, the person who created the Department of Education, he said many times, there's a famous quote that he says that he didn't create this Department of Education to create free thinkers. He created it to create workers. That's why they teach you in school that when you become old enough, they promise you and talk to you about things. They talk to you about things and promise you that you could go to college. They did that to me. I'd be like, holy shit, I'm the first person in my family to ever go to college if I would have graduated high school. And I had this conversation like lots of the people I did go to school with. You're like, oh my gosh, I could go to college. My mom and my dad would be so proud of me. I could really make money because they brainwashed you to think that you have to go to college to become rich. And then they have this cool thing called a guidance counselor. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why you're right. Sorry, I red pilled, but that's why they call TV programming, is because they use TV to pay to program you. But you're like, oh my gosh, I could go to college. And they're like, guess what? And guess the best thing about it is that we're going to get you all these Pell Grants and it's going to be completely free. And in your head, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be free. It's going to be free. It's going to be free. I could do it and it wouldn't cost me any money. Oh, you just have to pay something back when you graduate college. We'll give you 6 months to get a job after you get your degree and you can pay it back then. And you're like, oh, you're a 17, 18-year-old kid. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna become a big shot. I'm gonna finally be able to do things and maybe take care of my mom because she's sick, or maybe help my brother because I've been raising him his whole life. And so you get your hopes up that you're going to college, and then you go back a few weeks later and they're like, I'm sorry, Mr. Hess, but you got denied for all the Pell Grants. But we could still get you into college with financing, getting a student loan. You know what I mean? And then maybe there's some smaller Pell Grants you can get. But with a student loan, you wouldn't, like I said, it's still Pell Grants you would never have to pay. So that's why you were so excited. And now the student loans, they're like, oh, you don't have to start paying it back until you graduate. And a young kid who wants to impress people and feel proud of himself and maybe make something out of himself because that's the way he was programmed, that he had to get a college degree to make any type of good money. He's like, absolutely, let's go. Let's get this student loan. Well, guess then what happens? The kid signs the student loan, and that loan never goes away for the rest of his life. If he dies with his student loans, they get passed on to your children. A bankruptcy does not get rid of student loans. And so they just brainwashed. They do it continuously, brainwashing kids, tons and tons and tons and tons. College, 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 college. Tons of kids go to college, find out it's not for them. Because school, really, the way that they teach school is not for everybody, because everybody learns differently. I learn differently than you do, than he does, than she does. Oh, I'm drinking seltzer water. I'm drinking seltzer water. You know what seltzer water is? It's just carbonated water with a little bit of phrasing, because soda's poison. It's literally sugar water that has all sorts of chemicals in it that destroy your body. It's a scam because it's the government. It's illegal. I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you just take time to really think about the wealthiest places in the world and how they make their money, you'll see that it's all a scam. Do you know why the housing market is the housing market? It's because banks had no idea how they were going to make money with the money that they had. They had to physically give you something materialistic so you could really feel like you had something for them to get money. Do you know how many banks give out mortgages every day? And in 5 to 6, 7 years, something catastrophic will happen to that family to where they can't pay their mortgage, but they put thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to the bank, and then they get evicted and their home gets repossessed. And then guess what the bank does? The bank just spends a little bit of money and fixes it up, and then sells it again for $750,000. And then probably some Joe Schmo with barely any credit, but really wants a home because they push that it's the American dream. George Carlin said it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. But they pushed it. It's the American dream, the house, white picket fence. And the Joe Schmo that works at the construction site, who's been working 60 hours a week as hard as he can to have a house for himself and his family. And to be honest, because having a house is kind of a social status, you want to put out to everybody that you have a house, especially if you had a hard growing up. It was hard growing up. The house is like, oh yeah, I made it, you know? And so they're like, I'll take that loan, not knowing that in 6 months he'd get in a car accident and he'd lose his job and he'd have no legs. And then guess what? He loses the house because they can't pay the $2,000 mortgage. Then guess what happens? The house gets taken back and they fix it up and sell it again. It's just never ending. And then you send this money to the bank and you put I go put $100 in the ATM. Guess what the bank does with that $100? They take it and then they borrow it out to 10 more people on interest so they can make a little bit of money. If everybody in America right now went to their bank and said, give me my money, they wouldn't have the physical money to be able to do that. The housing market is a joke. The housing market have increased 10 times over the past 40 years and salaries only increase. It's crazy because the federal minimum wage never does. The price of everything is going up, but the federal rules for what they have to pay us stays the same. I think some places it's like $7.25. If there was a grown-ass man right now working 40 hours a week, even 60 hours a week, at $7.25, you would not even be able to pay for the food it would cost to eat. It's never changed. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting more oppressed. Oh yeah, it's 70. Oh yeah, it is 70. You're right, Red Pill. It is 75-25 here. It's really wild that if you ever watched the movie Elysium, Matt Damon movie. If you haven't watched that movie, I recommend you watch it because that's literally what happened. It's happening right now. I used to work at this place called Trade Algo. They had like an artificial intelligence platform on a desktop that if you traded in the stock market, this algorithm program tracked the stock market on private exchanges and then had real information about what's happening. And my boss, who was a millionaire, they paid me 80, they paid me $80K a year. But I was on the phone 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'd be there 7 a.m. I lived in a town that was about an hour away drive. And I had to ride the bus in the front runner. I had to wake up at 5:15 in the morning and I wouldn't get home until 9:30 every single day. It was very, very taxing. But the owner of this movie was talking about how, the owner of this company, was saying that this movie, Elysium, is what's happening right now. And the movie basically, I don't want to spoil it. Basically, the elites live in some sort of space station kind of hovering Earth, and they govern Earth from there. Everything on the Earth that they need governed is all done through robot police, and the poor live there and work as slaves while the elites live in a space station and can heal themselves. And it's just the journey of Matt Damien as a young kid promised a girl that he had a crush on that one day he would make it there, and it's his journey to get there. It's a great movie. You should all should watch it. Elysium with Matt Damon, fire ass movie. But it's crazy to think about how. Did you know that there's just more money in the world right now that there's ever been in history? That like over the last 10 years, the amount of millionaires and billionaires have like skyrocketed. I mean, it's crazy. What's up, David? Watch on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, I appreciate you, Ken. I appreciate you watching on both, bro. I appreciate this. Is honestly something that I'm gonna really try and do like once a week. Because currently in my living situation, I'm not going to give any personal details, but the podcast thing where I'm going to have people on, like while I talk to them, is still in the works. I'm going through a custody battle as well as just trying to survive and live and take care of my family. So I still need a few more pieces of equipment. But so I'm going to do stuff like this. I'm going to do stuff about this, so I can still stay engaged with my followers and my viewers. I have a lot of followers on Facebook, and so I hope a lot of them see this. If you do, and please, go ahead and just put 999 or put a mushroom emoji in the chat if you're seeing this later, because I know sometimes they play live videos that are ended later on people's feeds. If you see this again, please just chat and say hello. I appreciate everybody's in here. I can't wait. So you guys, to be honest, I don't know if y'all know this, but I only got about 8 people watching right now, and my goal is within the next 1 to 2 years to have a few thousand, if not more, watching when I do live streams. I have a lot of good ideas for the content that I'm going to put out. I feel like the world is a crazy place, and I know lots of information about the crazy stuffs, because something with my borderline personality disorder, maybe even some sort of slightly autism. I'm not really too well trained on it, but for some reason my consciousness obsesses over things. It's not like obsessive compulsive disorder where I have to like lock the door a bunch of different times or like do weird stuff like that. But it's like when I'm interested or engaged in a topic, I obsess over it, and I try to retain lots of information. Now, I'm not saying at all that I don't watch Netflix or Hulu. I watch Rick and Morty. There's lots of stuff I watch, but I do like to ingest into my consciousness a lot of information-based stuff that I watch it and I'm learning something, that I didn't know. I watched lots and lots and lots of videos about animals. Crazy animal I just learned about is that there's this freaking monkey in the Congo. They call it the lion killer. It's like a 6-foot monkey, and it's like the size of a Polynesian dude, just huge. They like literally lion killers because they kill lions. It's so crazy, and they have like no fur. It's really, really wild. But so I just like to learn lots of different stuff. I feel like knowledge is power. I feel like when I pass on to the next realm or wherever I'm going, I feel like the only thing that I will take with me if I pass the level that they call Earth and reach the final level, that I'll only have memories and the knowledge that I have. Potentially, I think that you create soulmates, and that kind of like avatar bonds you to when you're in the afterlife to be able to still stay connected to people, anyone that you didn't necessarily avatar with, someone you just really fuck with, your best friend for life, your wife, your boyfriend, whoever it is, something that you could never go without, someone you love unconditionally, like whether it's a monogamous or it's just strictly friendship. Those type of people, I feel like you create an avatar bond with, and so when you move on to the afterlife, those are the souls that you'll be able to associate with, or that you'll remember about, Yes. What's up, David? How's it going? So, I mean, and the crazy thing that for a long time, I'll just say it right now, I used to be Christian, Granted, I lived in Utah, Provo, Utah, and the LDS religion was stuffed down my throat involuntarily my whole childhood, right? Because I mean, if you're from Utah, you probably understand this. If you've been here for a long time, then this is a very, 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 very different place. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing great, David. I appreciate you. But it's a very, very different place. Back then, I mean, I got adopted when I was 12. If you watch my Get to Know Me video that I just posted on YouTube a few days ago, maybe a week, go back there if you want to figure this stuff out. But, anyways, in Utah, it's very different. I was adopted when I was 12 into a very, very, very staunch LDS family. I had no control over my beliefs because it was forced me. I had to wear Sunday clothes all day long on Sundays. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything but just hang out with my family, which were far different from me. If you've seen them, I'm the black sheep, uh, return missionaries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I used to be Christian because that's what I was raised. Just like humans are programmed from a very young age about everything that they learn in school, it's more prominent for Jesus when we're here in Utah. And so, uh, and then I started and go through this spiritual journey that I went through to find inner healing, inner peace, to find myself, because like I said, I struggle from an identity disorder. And so I've come to realize that oh, there's some light. Ooh, you can see me. It's kind of bright, but all right. I appreciate you, babe. So it's I feel like during this journey I have experienced certain situations. Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, in this specific religion I'm talking about, if you're born into a family that's a religion, there is no conversation of choice. It's from a very young age you are forced to do these things, and so growing up you do it so many times that it just becomes habit, and you just get used to it. Just like if you're in prison for a long time. I did 3 years in prison, and towards the end of prison, it was just prison. I really lost a lot of memories of a lot of I couldn't really if someone didn't write me when I was in prison for a very, very long time, I would start to forget what they looked like. Like it gets it because you never see them, uh, but so yeah, so here in Utah, like I said, I was forced Christian. Everybody you knew was a Christian. You went to church with the same people you went to high school with, and those were your friends because you had to see them on Sunday, and then you saw them on Wednesday, and then if your parent because you had to go to young men's, young women's, it's like a youth event where they force these kids to hang out with each other and stuff. And I went through this journey doing the things that doing the things that uh, are good for you. It's coming up that plant medicine, and I've come to realize, and this is my true, honest to God belief, that every single god or goddess that's ever been depicted and described by humans are all real. They're all aliens throughout all of history that have come and shown themselves. There's so many of us now that I think that they have to be more stealthy. That's why you just get UFO sightings, and they can't really determine what it is, and all the videos and pictures are all really crappy quality. You can never like really see what it is, just enough to fucking let you know that they're really there, but not really enough to know what the shape of it is or anything like that. So what I think is that every god or goddess, I mean, because the yeah, that's where technology came from. You're right. I mean, I don't know if you know who Plato is. He's a very, very, very famous philosopher. He talked a lot about Atlantis and Atlanteans. They don't say that. They just talk about these other philosophies, but they don't say that there's a lost civilization of an advanced race that lived on planet Earth, and that's why like these prophets and these kings and stuff lived for hundreds of years. It's because they were all Atlantean and they never aged because they wore crystals on their body that prevented aging. Tartaria, yeah, Tartaria. You're right. I appreciate you, Red Pill. You're giving me some good topics, bro. Because I'm nervous, and so I feel like I'm just rambling. But Tartaria is a civilization that was destroyed and erased from all history and on the earth. Putin, if you look it up, I don't want to say his name. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for that. But he talked about wanting to expose the truth about Tartaria. It was an advanced civilization that they were harnessing energy in a different way than we are now, and that there were a lots and a lots and a lots that they began in what is nowadays Russia. It was the Soviet Union, and that's where all of it was. Back the old Russian stuff buildings where they got like spires, and then they kind of look like mushrooms, really, but then they like go up to a point and it looks like a castle and stuff. Those were all built in like Tartaria times. They had electricity, they had cars, they had all sorts of crazy stuff. If you just Google Tartaria, it'll blow your mind. And this was a civilization that was completely erased from human history because it wasn't. I mean, to be honest, I think that's It's because the country we live in right now didn't want that information talked about. I mean, and honestly, the light bulb, right? Thomas Edison, yeah, he invented the light bulb, right? Pretty sure. His friend slash assistant, any of y'all know who that is? Nikola Tesla. You guys know who that is? If you don't know who Nikola Tesla is, then I'm sorry, you must live under a rock because that's the person who created the Tesla coil. You know, the big ass electric thing that has the ball on it that can shoot electricity out. He also created the light bulb, very close to when he created an earthquake machine where you could create, he could send frequencies into the ground and cause it to earthquake. And then he disappeared very shortly after, and all of his work disappeared except for what? The plans to the light bulb. Who had the light bulb? Thomas Edison. Nikola Tesla disappeared. Thomas Edison put it out. And then boom, he's famous. Famous! He gave us electricity. Beforehand, only God could give light. Let there be light, right? Now we can create it ourselves. Which is crazy. Oh yeah, yeah, I know he did. I know he took all those documents, which is crazy. So talking about energy and electricity and stuff, Elon Musk, the sometimes you hear some weird stuff about him that he's like doing some like he has like this picture of him when he's like real like satanic and Illuminatic armor, and it's like that was like his picture on Twitter for a long time. So that's kind of concerning. But then he's like doing all these great things for humanity or trying to help maintain humanity for what it is. Yeah, they're talking about that. They don't think that they could get to Mars just by using gas or like a propellant by using fuel. He did warn us about AI. I'll talk about that in a second. Oh yeah, I did already. Where he said that we need rules and regulations because people are going to cut corners, and then you never know when the AI is going to become sentient and then have access to the whole power grid, everything that's electric. It's all connected, and then just takes over and stops working for people and kills everyone in the hospital because it turns the powers off. Lots of people could get hurt if AI got sentient. But I forgot what I was talking about. Nikola Tesla, light bulb. Nikola. Oh yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. Anyways, do y'all know that that person who got arrested in Romania and detained for 3 months that they still haven't charged? He got banned on all social medias. He's a bald guy. He used to be a kickboxer. He said lots of crazy stuff on the internet, which got him famous because they are labeling him a misogynist. Well, just recently he had an interview with BBC, which is yeah, that's who it is, Game Boy. You're right. I just don't want to say it because he's banned on lots of stuff, and I'm just new to this and I'm still figuring out what I can and can't say. But yeah, that guy, Andrew. He had an interview with BBC, and now BBC came in to this interview, which was in his home because he's on house arrest. And immediately, at the very beginning of the interview, just started attacking him. Started bringing up stuff that was like court sensitive to the case that's currently on investigation, trying to get him to incriminate himself, attacking him about things that he said to make him look like he's a sexist or he's the evil person. If you ever watched any of his content, all he's trying to do is to teach men to free think, work hard, take care of your body, live an honest life, and love and respect everybody. That's basically what he talks. Work hard, get rich, be healthy, promote and help humanity progress. And that's why they have that's why they've tried to silence him, because the people who run the country, like Hobson said, the Illuminati or whatever the fuck they go by. I need a drink, babe. Please give me a drink. They they want to silence him because he has a mass influence over all the men that are the age group that could be drafted or that would be going into the next workforce, and he's telling them to escape the matrix. Well, BBC came in and started attacking him, asking all sorts of loaded questions, drilling questions over and over and over when he answered them, trying to see if he would change what he said. He took it like the top G he is. You know what I mean? He took it like a top G and just was very cordial. You know, the mantra he does when he stands there and he holds his hands like this actually connects neurons into your hands to connect to each other because these never really touch. So when you do this, it connects neurons. It's supposed to help you with enlightenment and open pathways in your brain so you can help you think. Look up mudras. Uh, anyways, and then guess what happens? So this lady comes on, and then she just like completely starts attacking him and telling him that all over the UK schools and the police and this organization that helps victims that are women in attacks said that they named you by name. They named you by name that you were the most evil person on planet Earth. And then they had this interview, and on that video there were 70,000 dislikes. The lady who did the interview blocked all of her social medias and made it private so no one could message her. The BBC, they took that video down so no one in the UK could see it. Like I'm sorry, but I truly do believe in the Matrix, bro. You know what I mean? If you just think about the way, if you really just try and open your mind, well, that's the thing. Is remember how I told you earlier that I have come to the understanding that everything I have ever learned could be false. Well, that's given me the ability to actually open my mind and look outside the box and really take information for what it is without no bias or no previous judgment, except for the information I'm taking. So then I think like, dang, this is a matrix and the system is set up. You know what I mean? We don't have a healthcare system in America. We have a sickness care system. What about all the thousands of people that are coming up through the border because we didn't prepare or our government didn't prepare that when they had known for 2 years that this COVID bill, like something that happened during COVID that was like restricting like immigration laws and stuff was expiring. And so all these restrictions and all these rules were just going to be disappearing. And then tens of thousands of people are coming through the border. Tens of thousands from all over the world. They found things that blow up. I don't want to say the word because it's a trigger word. They found lots of those things. Did you know that a very high-ranking Al Qaeda member was caught down on the border? And you know how they work. Well, everything that's brought up through the border. You know how that works? They say, what are the chances I could get in there? Probably it depends. But what are the chances I can get in there if we fucking send 100 people to do it at one time? How many of us are going to get through? So if we found a high-ranking Al Qaeda member coming up through the border, oh, you best bet at least 30 or 40 of his homies came with him. You know what I mean? Because the whole entire world knows that's how you get stuff into America. Is through Mexico. Do you know about the cages? The cages that our American government knows that all the Hispanics that come through the border, they take the adults and put them into slave camps, basically. And they're called cages because it's literally like a dog kennel. And there's hundreds of them in there. And then guess what happens with all the little niñas and niños? They get put on a bus and shipped all over the country. Weird, because we don't know about that list or who went to that island. But there's lots and lots and lots of kids missing. Did you know that the police chief of Ohio just raised the alarm because over the last 2 weeks, 30 kids have disappeared? Like this world is so crazy that if you aren't paying attention to this information, literally any day. I mean, this whole time I've been through 2023. I don't know about all y'all, but every single day it wouldn't blow my mind anymore if something just fucking crazy happened. Did you know that during the time when that train derailment happened in Cincinnati or East Palestine, Ohio, that during that exact same time that President Biden got on a plane and went to Ukraine? When there were hundreds and thousands of people that needed help and needed resources, they couldn't drink the water because it was poisoned. Babe, if you can hear me, please bring me a drink. I don't want to lose y'all. But anyways, yeah. So he went to, we've dumped like $130 billion into Ukraine when there's a freaking invasion happening in Mexico to come up here. There's how many train derailments? Shootings at schools. Like, why can't we have someone who leads our country that cares about our country instead of foreign relationships? You know what I mean? There's a guy who always has that blonde hair, you know what I mean? And if you have watched any news ever, they hate his guts and they've tried to send him to jail and make up all these fake things about the Russians. Remember about a few years ago? Remember a few years ago when all of a sudden Joe Biden and freaking Donald Trump were running for election, and then all of this stuff came out? Guess what came out? Just a second. For one, we found out from Elon Musk that the American government and the CIA were forcing Twitter and other social media platforms to censor negative things about Biden because we found his laptop and then all the other stuff with Hillary Clinton, you know, the scandal with her emails and stuff. They forced all these social media platforms to censor, block, ban all sorts of accounts for posting information about Biden, and created fake stories and propaganda to decredit Donald Trump. And this whole time, a mass portion of America has thought that he really did was like betraying our country with Russia. And then the Durham report came out just recently, and someone proved that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden, who was vice president at the time, and the CIA and the FBI, they all knew that this crazy stuff came out about Hillary. And so to take all the distractions, you know, if you pay attention to the world, you can know when distractions are happening because the story blows up and they don't want you looking over here. So they wanted to distract you from what Hillary was doing. And they created a foolproof plan with people testifying and all sorts of documents tying him to Russia to make him feel like a spy so people would not like him. And this is all real stuff. It's all come out. I'm not lying. This has all come out that Hillary Clinton created the whole thing. It's crazy, you know. I feel like lots and lots of stuff is going on in the world, and not enough people are standing up and talking about it. Because if you know what I mean. Did you guys watch the Tucker Carlson stuff about January 6th? You know, the footage of the White House that showed that these people who supposedly went to jail for a long time for like an insurrection and attacking the White House. Tucker Carlson showed a clip of the footage showing that all of the security guards and the officers let all these people in and walked them around, gave them a tour, opened locked doors for them. And then all of a sudden that also came out too, that there were FBI agents in the crowd, riling the crowd up with hats on that say Trump support, make America great again. They were there to get the crowd wild so that they would act out and do something crazy so they can make Donald Trump look like the bad guy because he created terrorists, basically. It's fucking crazy, bro. It's crazy what's going on. And it just seems like if I talk about all of this stuff, all the people that I associate with think that I'm fucking just crazy. I go to work. Let's say I go to work, okay? And there's a new guy, right? I'm a room lead. I'm in charge of a few people to make sure what happens in the room is what's supposed to happen. And then random times, people on my crew will be like, "Don't let him let you try on his tinfoil hat," because I'm blunt, I'm upfront, and I do lots of research and look into things. Now, granted, you're right. There's probably been a lot of times with some fake CGI videos I watched that I thought were real and probably were fake. That's probably accurate, but none of y'all motherfuckers ain't falling for that one too either. So, but I like to talk about things. I like to have knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? There's lots and lots of people that at my work that say that they don't watch the news. They just get all of their news from me. Because every time I walk into the break room, I'm like, "Did you hear about this? Whoa, did you hear about this? Do you know what this is? Oh man, did you know about this?" Which just triggered something crazy in my mind. So this is something I learned that's just really recently new. So you guys know what crop circles are, right? You believe in aliens? You better believe in aliens. If you don't, you're a fucking weirdo. Because they have made themselves present for a very long time. There's lots and lots of proof. One person lies about a UFO sighting, they could be bullshitting. But when thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are doing it, chances are those people aren't lying. You know what I'm saying? So crop circles, right? They think that maybe the UFO landed and the exhaust or the chemicals coming out of it created these patterns in the crop circles. There's lots and lots and lots of pictures of crop circles, but nobody really talks about this. Nobody really talks about that out of all the crop circles, even the most famous ones, there's two of them that are identical to a chemical we find on Earth. Do y'all know what they are? You won't, I mean, you probably would never even guess it. Niacin and melatonin. Google it. You mean I don't need y'all to fact check. Niacin and melatonin. Niacin, I didn't really learn much information about, but melatonin. Y'all know what melatonin is? Yeah, it's the stuff you take when you want to go to sleep, or if your child has a toothache and they can't go to sleep, you give them some melatonin. It helps stimulate the chemicals in your brain that tells your body to shut down and start relaxing so you can fall asleep. But the crazy thing also about melatonin is it has lots of properties to help benefit this. Do you know what this is right here? That's your pineal gland, your third eye. And I'm not anatomically, it's a real thing. It's this gland that's in the center of your head that's connected to your ocular system in your brain. These eyes, all they do is just see things like a camera. And then it transfers all the stuff up into here, and this is what interprets what you see, and then it sends messages to your brain accordingly. And there's been lots and lots of stuff that put in your food to damage this organ in your head, so it can't work as well, so you can't see things how they really are. Watch alternate news for truth, no mainstream media. Yeah, I'll do that. But anyways, so isn't it just crazy that some alien race came to Earth and made a crop circle, literally that matches the molecule melatonin to a T? What are they trying to tell us? They're trying to tell us that we need this fucking thing. We need to stop consuming poison. The water you drink, poison. It's got no minerals in it because it's been filtered and bleached and distilled and da-da-da-da-da, and it runs through rusty pipes. It's no good for you. It's not the water you need. You actually need the water that it comes from fruit, H3O. Coconut water, H3O. It's not H2O, it's H3O. H3O is like in cucumbers, watermelons, the juice that's in berries. That's the water your body actually needs and is made up of. The water in the outside is really just filtered earth water, right? The oceans, rivers, lakes, they all interconnect. Some of them don't. But it's in the food that we eat. There's no mass portion of America's diet has weird preservatives in it, you know? That phlebotomists are like, what are those people called that fluoride, yeah, calcifies your pineal gland. It's in your water. But what are those people called that work in the morgue? Mortician. I've heard a couple of them talk about how today in 2023 they have to use 60% formaldehyde to preserve the body than they did 30 years ago. Why? Because humans are eating so much preservatives. They don't need to use that much because your body's being preserved by all the preservatives that have absorbed in all your flesh and muscles and everything you eat, or everything in your body has tons of preservatives absorbed into it, so you die, it doesn't decay as fast. Most of the big name foods in America, lots of big name ones, I don't want to spout them out because I want you to do your own research, are banned in most countries. You know, red dye, red 40 or whatever. They've like directly connected it to people getting sick and having problems. Lots of kids, you know. It's you really have to be conscious of what you eat. Oh yeah, have you guys ever? I did watch that. Have you guys seen the video about the Great Value brand marshmallows that they have traces of tilapia in them? And tilapia is a fish. Next time you're at where's Great Value? Great Value is not Walmart. That's Walmart, right? Great Value is Walmart, I think. You go on the back of the package, and it's got tilapia in it. It's weird, huh? Did you know that when you look on the back of the ingredients on the food, the very first ingredient on there is what there's the most of in it, and then going down the line, the one that's very last has the littlest amount. The one at the beginning has the biggest amount. Did you know? What's up, TJ? What's up, boy? I appreciate you, bro. And they have all these things and these weird chemicals that you've never even fucking heard of. You don't even know how to pronounce, that This food is like grown in a laboratory. They have like scientists that perfect it to make sure it tastes the way that it's supposed to taste. And then when they put natural flavors, it literally could mean anything as long as it gives it flavor. So like, and I don't know if you know this on this note. Do you know who owns the most farmland in the whole entire world? Or I mean, in America, excuse me. Yeah, he's the dude that created Microsoft. What is someone that created a computer program doing buying farmland? Oh, that's weird because he's directly tied to the injection everybody got when during the pandemic that they brainwashed everybody to take. He's directly tied to that. It's because there's a rumor that they're going to start putting it in lettuce. They don't need to poke you no more to give you the medicine. They'll just put it in your fruits and vegetables and they'll make you eat it that way. So, and I don't know if you've done your own research on all of this because I don't want to get too wild out there. I'm sorry, I already said, to be honest, I don't know my boundaries with it, with these type of thing. Cause like I said, this is my first time. So I don't want to talk about too much stuff that I have had like videos taken down for or something. So during the time where they made everybody go in their homes and everything locked down, and then there was a medicine that made it so you could come out of your house. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't want to really talk about all that, but the person who was pushing the medicine the most, obviously now we have lots of information about that medicine that it is actually poison, and the more times you get that medicine, the higher chance you have of getting it. I didn't ever got it. And someday my blood and my baby powder, I guess you could say, is going to be worth money because there's none of that medicine in there. And they think that potentially that medicine could be passed down to generations without that next human getting it. Okay, thanks. I appreciate you, Red Pill. Tea, Lipton tea, ice. I also am just gonna go out of the view because I need to ingest some nicotine. Okay, back anyways. So the question is, I've been on here for about an hour. This is about really just what I wanted to get on here for. Maybe they'll get longer next time. Before all y'all leave, if you guys could just put 999 in the comments, a bunch of likes, a bunch of likes, a bunch of likes. Let's just see who's on here. See who can hit the like buttons the most. Ready, set, go. But I just want everyone to know that came on here and that we'll see this later. I'll be on here hopefully every single Sunday evening. Well, yeah, I appreciate you watching the whole time. G, Marissa Chase. Hey, you missed it, Marissa. I'm about to get off 999 unless you were already watching. Some mushroom emojis. Do some research on plant medicine. It'll change your life. I just want all of you to know that I appreciate everything you guys do for me, even if it's just a comment here or a like here or a share here. It really helps my channel grow. If you could share my stuff when I post stuff on YouTube, like videos, if you could share my videos or just tell friends about it, that's really honestly how my content gets better. You know, how I get more people to engage with. Honestly, this is way cooler than anything that I've ever made. I like the fact that I was able to just freely have a conversation about stuff because instead I have to like think about it myself, but I know lots of stuff, but having the people all up in the chat, answering questions and giving me ideas to things to talk about really helped me. I just want everybody that there's two things that you need to do today. You need to tell someone that you love them and just remember to smile and spread positivity across earth. I want you all to know I love you. Peace out.